After months of waiting, we finally got a full general Nintendo Direct for September. I didn't necessarily have any expectations going into this, aside from hearing more about previously announced titles, and hoping to get some new ones announced along the way. But this Nintendo Direct was not what I was expecting at all. Hi, I'm Matt. I'd like to talk about video games, pop culture, and pretty much anything else that piques my interest. I always look forward to these Nintendo Directs because I love getting to see what games are coming to Nintendo's platforms. And this was the longest Nintendo Direct ever. The previous record holder was the Switch 2 Direct, and this passed it. So naturally, you'd think that the longest Nintendo Direct would be filled with lots of new games and announcements, right? Well, sort of. We'll get more into that later. For now, I just wanted to break down this Direct and talk about some of the things that interested me. Up first was a celebration for Mario's 40th anniversary. After highlighting the Nintendo Museum and Super Mario World in Orlando, as well as announcing that Nintendo will be supporting the Kyoto Marathon, we got our first look at the sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I know it was only a short glimpse of what's to come, but the animation looks gorgeous. Nintendo confirmed it will take some aspects from the game with the same name, but also will take inspiration from all Mario games. After that, we got a look at some Mario games coming to the Switch and Switch 2, starting with Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. It makes sense to see Nintendo releasing this. After all, the movie is named after it, but also because the first Super Mario Galaxy game was released as part of the 3D All-Stars collection, and it can no longer be purchased for the Nintendo Switch, with both Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine being available in other ways on the Switch platforms. And now we also get Mario Galaxy 2. The games will be available individually on the Nintendo eShop, all on October 2nd. Along with these games, we'll also be getting a new pair of Amiibo figures, as well as a real copy of Rosalina's storybook from the games. Up next was Mario Tennis Fever. I was never a huge fan of the Mario Tennis games, if I'm being honest. I think they're fun, but they never seem to have a ton of depth to them. This game, on the other hand, seems to have plenty of depth. Using Fever Rackets, you can use different abilities to get advantages against your opponent. With 30 Fever Rackets and 38 characters, it really feels like Nintendo went all out for this entry. In addition to 7 different modes to play in, the game also has an entire campaign where you play as Baby Mario and friends. This comes out February 12th. The next game we saw was Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup at Bella Bell Park. In addition to new levels being added to the game, there will also be a variety of multiplayer modes to play and compete in. It looks fun, though I'm not sure if I'm particularly interested in the multiplayer and co-op modes. But then again, I don't think I'm the target audience for these. That'll be great for families and friends to play together. We didn't get a confirmed release date for this, only spring of 2026. Nintendo also announced a real-life version of the talking flower from the game, which is neat, I guess? The final game part of the celebration was a new Yoshi game. In Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, you play as Yoshi, who meets a talking book that Yoshi can jump into and read its pages. It looks cute, and I like the unique art style. Of course, it has a very simple play style. I don't anticipate this being a necessarily challenging game, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. Overall, I liked everything that was announced here, but it did feel a little underwhelming, especially when comparing it to Mario's 35th anniversary that happened a few years ago. I wasn't expecting a big new 3D Mario game, though that would have been a welcome surprise. But I thought we'd see something else. Maybe a 2D side-scroller, or maybe a new Mario Maker game. I'm definitely interested in each of the games, and very excited for the movie. But I do wish Nintendo had something more in store for our favorite platforming plumber. On to the normal Nintendo Direct. First, we gotta look at Stormlancers, an 80s-inspired game. It looks fun. I'm not super interested in picking it up myself, but it did get released today, so it could be a lot of fun that you can play right now. Up next was Dinkum, a cozy simulator game. I already have plenty of those to play through, and Dinkum doesn't necessarily have anything that's drawing my attention, so I likely won't pick this up, but it does look like it has a lot of focus on building and exploration. This also has local and online co-op. This releases as a time exclusive on November 5th. Up next was Popucom, which I just don't have any interest in. Sorry, I just don't think it's for me. It involves a lot of puzzles and boss battles, so if that interests you at all, it comes out later this holiday. Speaking of simulator games, next was Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I didn't play the original Tomodachi Life, and I know it has a very dedicated fan base who have been begging for this game. Maybe I missed out on something special with the first one, so I will be picking this up and trying it out. We still don't have a set release date, but it was narrowed down more to spring of 2026. Up next was a variety of games releasing for both the Nintendo Switch as well as the Switch 2. This includes Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, which comes out on October 30th. My wife and I are both fans of the Mortal Kombat games, so this is an easy purchase for us. This is also getting a physical edition, releasing on December 12th, and it's not a game keycard. But you know what is a game keycard? Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is so disappointing. I was really looking forward to this one, but in all fairness, the game is going to be around 90 gigabytes, so it would not have ever fit on a true physical cartridge to begin with. That being said, it does look to be a pretty impressive port. So if you haven't played this on the PlayStation or on PC, this could be a great way to play. This releases on January 22nd, which does push it past the initial 2025 release window, but not by much. Next was Linked, Banner of the Spark, which, again, I'm sorry, I have no interest in. Rescue robots, collect resources, and build a place for others. It's probably fun, but nothing about it really caught my interest. But hey, it's available today, so pick it up if you're interested. Hades 2 was up next, and I'm very interested in this one. I own the original Hades for the Nintendo Switch, and though I haven't had a chance to play it, I've heard nothing but great things about it. The sequel looks just as good. You play as the Princess of the Underworld, wielding powerful weapons and fighting enemies. This releases digitally on September 25th and physically on November 20th. After that, we got a look at 2 new amiibo for Kirby Air Riders. These summon figure players that can train and level up. The riders can also be swapped with levels being transferred over as well. These will be available on November 22nd, the same day as the game's launch. We also got a second Kirby Air Riders Direct confirmed. Next was a game I'm honestly surprised is releasing this year, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Up until now, we only knew this game was coming out in winter of 2025, so I thought for sure it was getting pushed into January or February of next year. But no, this is coming out on November 6th. I haven't played a warrior style game before, but this one does look impressive, and I'll definitely be picking it up. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined was up next, and I don't really know how I feel about this art style. It looks unique, that's for sure, and the gameplay does look like fun. It's definitely more than a remaster and not quite a complete remake, so saying it's reimagined is pretty accurate. This releases on February 5th. Up next was 2 announcements from Nintendo. The first was that Nintendo today is getting a new Kirby theme, which, okay, this feels like something that just could have been in a tweet. But the second announcement completely caught me off guard. Virtual Boy is coming to Nintendo Switch Online. This feels like an April Fool's Day joke, if I'm being completely honest. But I don't mean that as a bad thing, I just never would have expected this coming to NSO. In order to play, you need to use the Virtual Boy accessory, which comes as either a replica of the original Virtual Boy or a cardboard version of it. I feel like this kind of limits the appeal of Nintendo Switch Online. This is the first expansion that requires an accessory to play. Everything else that was released prior to this was completely optional. I understand why it's needed, but it would have been nice if these games could still be played in TV or handheld mode, even if you wouldn't get all the same effects. The craziest part of this, that replica headset is going to cost $100. Look, that's cheaper than trying to track down a real Virtual Boy to play, but that's an insane price for what will ultimately only have 14 games on it. The cardboard version is $25, which I guess is better, but $25 for cardboard? Look, I'm still legitimately excited for this game coming to NSO, so I don't mean to put a damper on it, but that is just a very high Nintendo tax. Moving back over to games, we got a look at a few more Nintendo Switch 2 titles. Up first was Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake. I've never played any of the Fatal Frame games, so I'm glad to see this coming to the system. This comes out early next year. We then got a look at Switch 2 versions of One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, Overcooked 2, Stardew Valley, and Human Fall Flat. I'm happy to see so many third parties supporting the Switch 2 with enhanced version of their games. And in the case of Stardew Valley, it's a free upgrade for anyone who owns the Nintendo Switch game. Next was Power Wash Simulator 2, which didn't really interest me a ton. This is a reoccurring theme, isn't it? It looks fine, like I'm not offended by it or anything. I know a lot of people genuinely like these games and consider them to be very relaxing. And this new game does allow you to play with your friends. So I'm sure that there's somebody out there who is cheering for this announcement. This comes later this fall. Suika Game Planet was up next, releasing on both the Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2. This is just a simple, fun puzzle game, but I know a lot of people liked the original Suika game, so this should be a lot of fun to play. It also has game share support, so you can play co-op with friends. This comes out later this winter. Up next, we got another look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and it showed off this new bike that Samus can ride on. I'm not going to say that this open area looks amazing or anything, after all it was developed to run on the original Switch, but it still looks like a lot of fun. I'd be surprised if we don't get a Metroid Prime 4 Direct before its release date, which was finally confirmed for December 4th. In addition, a Metroid Prime 1 through 3 visual retrospective was announced, set to be released on October 28th. And 3 new Amiibo figures were announced, 2 releasing on November 6th and the 3rd on the game's release date. We're getting paid DLC for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like I said in my review of the game, which you can watch here, I think that this game should definitely be a part of the Game of the Year conversation, so seeing it get DLC is great. Included in the DLC is a reimagined DK Island to explore, but the main focus of this DLC is a new game mode, Emerald Rush. In this, you work to collect as much emerald in a set time limit as you can. By collecting fossils, you can get perks, which makes it easier to collect emeralds. Perks can be stacked on top of each other, but they will reset after each run. By completing runs, you collect new in-game rewards. This DLC is out now, in addition to a demo of the main game. So if you were interested in the game but haven't picked it up yet, this is a great way to try it out. Up next was the most divisive announcement of this Direct, but honestly, my favorite one. Pokemon Pokopia. Now let me be clear, this game doesn't look visually amazing or anything. I mean, it's Pokemon we're talking about here. They certainly have the money to make better looking games, but they never really seem to try. It's just how it is. But that's a conversation for another day. Visuals aside, this game really piqued my interest. Look, I always respect it when a well-known franchise decides to throw a curveball and make something different from their core games. And for better or worse, the Pokemon franchise is full of examples. But to make something like this is very out of left field. A lot of people have compared it to Animal Crossing and Minecraft, which, sure, it does have some similarities, but I think it shares more with games like Dragon Quest Builders and Harvest Moon. I just think it looks like a lot of cozy fun, which I know I said I have plenty of those type of games, but I also said I need something to look interesting for me to want to buy another one. And I mean, come on, it's Pokemon. I feel like I'm the only one who is actually looking at this game positively. Everyone else seems to really dislike its concept. But I think it's just goofy and unique, so I'm here for it. This is coming out in 2026. Speaking of Pokemon, we got another look at Pokemon Legends ZA. I really don't feel like they showed off anything major here, just teased a few mega evolutions. This is more so a reminder that this is coming out next month than anything else. Anyone who was interested from the first trailer already knows that they're buying it, myself included. This comes out on October 16th. But also announced with this was DLC? Yeah, we're getting paid DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA. Mega Dimension. I really am not a fan of companies advertising for their paid expansions before the base game is even out yet. It just seems like they're trying to get people's money before they even had a chance to see if they like the game to begin with. Up next was Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. I remember hearing about this game years ago, so while I'm not necessarily buying it on day one, I am interested in playing it on the Switch 2. Along with the main game, an additional story is included called Danganronpa 2x2. This will be releasing next year. Dynasty Warriors Origins was next. Again, I've never played a Warriors game before, so I don't have a ton of interest in this one. I'm more interested in Age of Imprisonment because, well, it's The Legend of Zelda. But maybe that will sell me on this gameplay, and I'll pick this up later down the line. In addition, the game will be getting paid DLC. This comes out on January 22nd. We got another look at Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection. This looks like a lot of fun, and I'm very interested in picking this up. Monster Hunter Rise was the first game that I've played in the franchise, and I've yet to play a Stories game, so I'm excited to play this when it comes out on March 13th. Next was a sizzle reel of games coming out on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, starting off with 2 Point Museum, which releases on October 28th. Disgaea 7 Complete, releasing on October 10th. EA Sports FC 26, releasing on September 26th. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake, releasing on Switch and Switch 2 on October 30th. Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage, coming this winter. LEGO Voyagers on September 15th. Little Nightmares 3 releasing on October 10th. And Persona 3 Reload, coming October 23rd with a demo available today. I'm interested in Little Nightmares 3 the most out of all of these, just because I really love the original Little Nightmares game. But I'm also interested in LEGO Voyagers, Dragon Quest 1 and 2, and Persona 3 Reload. One of the last announcements of the Direct was Resident Evil Requiem is coming to the Switch 2. Not only that, but it's coming out day and date with the rest of the consoles, which is really great. This is exactly what third-party developers need to be doing, if at all possible. This will likely be a game keycard, unfortunately, but I'm just happy to see it being supported on the Switch 2. And it looks really good on the system as well, albeit not as good as on other consoles, but I don't think it's going to ruin the experience for most players. In addition, we will be getting more Resident Evil games coming to the console, with both Resident Evil 7 Biohazard and Resident Evil Village. All 3 of these games are releasing on the same day, February 27th. This brings us to our final announcement of the Nintendo Direct, with Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. This looks to be in the same storyline as Fire Emblem Three Houses, though I'm not sure if it's a sequel or if it takes place before that story. Either way, it looks like a Fire Emblem game. I haven't really played one of these before, not because I'm not interested, I just don't have time to invest in an 80-hour story. That being said, maybe this will be the exception. No confirmed release date for this, but it comes out in 2026. And that was the Nintendo Direct. Overall, I think it was a solid presentation of what's coming to the Switch consoles over the next couple months, but I'd be lying if I said that it was an absolutely amazing Direct. That being said, I don't think it was a bad Direct either. There were a lot of games here that I'm interested in. Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2, Mario Tennis Fever, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, Tomodachi Life, Hades 2, and Pokemon Pokopia, just to name a few. But it also felt like a lot of this Direct was just talking about games we already knew about, like Metroid Prime 4 and Hyrule Warriors, or talking about DLC, like Donkey Kong Bonanza and Pokemon Legends, or talking about amiibo figures, like Super Mario Galaxy and Kirby Air Riders. We got some new games announced, sure, but I'm not sure if there were any heavy hitters for this Direct. Now, if you liked the concept for Pokopia, or are a fan of Fire Emblem games, then yeah, this was probably a fantastic Direct for you, and I'm happy about that. I did like this Direct a lot, and I do think it was better than a lot of people are giving it credit for. But I guess I just expected more for a Direct that is at the beginning of a console's life cycle. Obviously, there's still more to come. We'll get our 3D Mario, our mainline Legend of Zelda, a new Animal Crossing, and probably a new Smash Bros. Game. We're still getting a ton of great games on this console in only the first 6 months. Think about what the next few years will have in store. I personally would give this Nintendo Direct a B-. Certainly not the best ones we've ever had, but far from the worst. I'm excited to play a lot of the games that are coming to the Switch and Switch 2, and think that this was a great showcase for all of them. But what did you think of this Nintendo Direct? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like this video, please give it a like, and be sure to follow me on all of these social media platforms. But whatever you do, I just want to thank you for watching this video. Clearly, we have plenty of games coming to the Switch 2 soon, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell to keep up to date on all of my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.